Tired of jumping through hoops to buy Bitcoin? Frustrated with endless paperwork and invasive identity checks? Introducing Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club's loan program. No KYC required. Say goodbye to the hassle and hello to freedom. Borrow up to $250,000 at as little as 7% interest. Join our community and take control of your financial future. Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, where privacy meets opportunity. Connect with like-minded individuals and grow together. Visit us today and unlock your $250,000 Bitcoin loan. Your journey to financial freedom starts here.
And we are live. You guys. The things that are going on right now are absolutely fucking crazy. All right, so last night and some this morning, I hopped on my Telegram. Now, Telegram is a very good exchange of information platform. But don't use it for crypto shit. not a good crypto platform, because there's always someone trying to fucking get your shit there. Now, we are going to go through two things. Well, actually three things. One, oil. What the flying fuck is going on with oil? Well, what we have to wrap our heads around is is the world is actually getting cut in half. And that's what this war's over. Well, that's part of what this war's over. Then, oh, good Lord, this is going to take a while. All right, everyone sit down, get a cup of coffee, maybe a Red Bull or two. Because, before I get going, up in Massachusetts, this evening, or this afternoon at 3, we are having our event, which is open to the general public. It is the Bitcoin, what's he calling it? Hang on one second. It has an official, it is the Bitcoin Mixer. So if you're near our club up in Massachusetts, swing over and check it out. It's a great event. And it isn't just for like Bitcoin. Mind you, that's what we love. If you're into AI, if you're just a freedom person, that's your home. These clubs are freedom clubs, and also Bitcoin clubs and AI. It's whatever is on the uprise that revolves around freedom. That's what we talk about. That's AI, the Bitcoin, cryptos, and apparently now oil. Fuck it. So check us out up at our club up in Massachusetts. Easiest way to find it is there's a link under here that will actually take you to our website, or you could go to www.bitcoinben.io, and it's all right there. Okay, now let's jump into oil. Guys and gals, what's going on, what partially is going on over in the East, the Middle East. See, I say the Middle East, but it's so much larger than that. It's Russia, it's China, it's Iran, because we have to remember, guys, as much as we hate this war, as much as we fucking despise this war, and right now, Israel, this war, Iran was set up by the CIA. I think, and I'm getting confirmation more and more every day, that this is Iran, Venezuela, and Cuba were some of the CIA's largest hubs. Now, they also have one in Brazil and, of course, North Korea. But we got rid of the North Korean one last Trump's last presidency. That's when all of a sudden there's a mountain in North Korea that just fucking collapses. You know, that happens all the time. It didn't erupt. It wasn't a volcano. It just kind of collapsed. You know, because that's what mountains do. And that actual mountain was rumored to be the location of the CIA's operations in North Korea. Because let's remember who set up North Korea. The CIA. Exactly. Now, and when I say CIA, I should really say global, the London Global Intelligence Agency apparatus. That would be more of an accurate explanation of what we're dealing with here. Because this is not just CIA. Remember, we have what are called the Five Eyes. Well, that is the global London intelligence information and regime, everything evil. Yeah, it basically comes out of there. They created North Korea. They created Iran. They created Cuba, Venezuela. All of the communist revolutions were this organization. Now, it goes way back in history. It's like late 1800s, whenever, and I'm going to say it, the Jewish global infrastructure out of the London School of Economics launched the Bolshevik Revolution. Let's remember, all of the leaders of the Russian Revolution were Jewish, right? Lenin was actually Jewish. He changed his name. All of the leaders of the communist revolution were Jewish. All of them. All of them. Now, I'm not trying to blame the Jews for everything, just 99% of everything. The 1% I blame on a homeless guy in LA who robbed a taxi in 1989. That's a whole different story. But this oil, this whole area, see, we look at it and we think it's about oil, or we think it's about terrorism. That bullshit. Because the CIA was the terrorist. We trained the terrorists. And Iran was set up. Now, how this works is, I think it was 1970, what was it, 1976, 1973, whenever we removed the Shah. Now, remember, we put the fucking Shah in, and then we removed him. Once we needed to shift Iran into a different place. Because in the 70s, we were moving into this terrorism, this Islamic terrorism idea. Because, well, that goes into, I think it's Andrew Pike, please correct me if I'm wrong on that. Andrew Pike. Now, see, that doesn't sound right. Andrew. Nope, it's something else. It has an A in it. I know that. All right. But that was actually part of the whole fucking plan. And all of these, North Korea, yes, thank you, Albert Pike. Thank you. I knew it wasn't. I knew it. Thank you so much, guys. All right. So we set up North Korea, Japan, Iran, Cuba, Venezuela as kind of the hubs. There's a few others, but they're smaller hubs. We called them military bases or embassies. Yeah, what we thought was an embassy, no, that's all CIA. And let me put it this way. Everyone who works at an embassy, except maybe the gal who answers the phone, is CIA. There's no such thing as an embassy worker. They're all CIA. And those are hubs. That was all created after World War II. Look at the Korean War. Look at the Vietnam War. Look, these were all set up so you'd have a capitalist area and you'd have a communist area. You know, that was divide and conquer. That's what it all was separate the countries and then use the internal struggle of the country against it so they would never unite. And so in the 70s, because this is also tied back with Bitcoin and money, in the 70s, we switched from our number one produced level. We switched from our number one production material as metals to plastics and petroleums. So that's why we created the petrodollar, because we wanted to tie the dollar off of gold and on to oil. Now, everyone bitches at Nixon for, oh, he took us off the gold standard. The gold standard was the elites. It was the Jews. That's who ran the gold. France, Italy, all London, the UK, all of that is ran by Jews and was ran because the gold is the money of the elites. It's why the founding fathers of America, it's why we didn't go with gold. That wasn't the basis of our American currency. It was silver mostly. Now, if you had some gold, it was respected, but as a government entity, our currency was actually tied to silver because the gold was the money of the elites. In 1973 or in 1971, whatever year we officially unpegged from gold, that was so we could move to petroleum. That's so we could create the petrodollar. Now, creating the petrodollar was a shit show because nobody wanted it. nobody wanted American dollars anymore because you couldn't cash them in for the gold. So what we did was we basically took over the Middle East and said, okay, all of our puppets, you guys are only going to sell your oil in dollars. You can only sell oil in dollars. So that set up the petrodollar. Now, this oil move right now, this is why it's so important, guys. They know, all right, they know that we have fusion technology. It's already there. We have it. Why do you think Trump just bought a fucking fusion company? You don't think he's going to be slipping some secrets over to his fusion company? We are now transitioning off of oil and petroleum-backed money. And we are moving to digital money, just like we did in 1971, except it's not officially being announced. Now, they did announce last year that the petrodollar agreement would not be would not be re-signed. That was a big deal because the Middle Eastern countries did not renew the petrodollar deal. Huge deal. That's when you know, okay, they're flipping something else. They're flipping from petro to pure energy. Whether it's solar, wind, which is a fucking joke, or nuclear, and also fusion. Because they know they're shifting. But we have a war of the elites. We have the old system at war with the new system. And you have to understand there's so many fucking players in this. There's so many agendas. All right. Today, I'm going to be saying some things that might not make sense right now. But as this shit rolls on, it's going to come clear as fucking day. Let me wrap up this oil thing. California, you might as well fucking call it East China, because they're not playing on our system. Let me pull this up real quick. You have to understand it's about American oil. See, I'm not saying we aren't going to use oil. We are going to devalue oil. We are going to lower the price of oil fucking substantially. And we have to have America set up. And Trump, unfortunately, he gives a fuck about California. If it was me, I'd just let them motherfuckers go and wipe my hand with them. But Trump has this vision of he's the American president, so he has to worry about California. It's kind of like he knows he has to babysit all of the retards. So luckily they're mostly in California, so at least they're like isolated to a retard room where, if you got to watch the retards, you just got to go into the retard room and kind of sit there with bright lights and like laser pointers and entertain the retards for a while. All right, let me bring this up real quick.
Rigs have been dormant for a decade till Friday when President Trump turned on the. But these rigs have been dormant for a decade till Friday when President Trump turned on the tap. Hollywood celebrities last year protested the reopening of a major oil pipeline.
It is, they'll tell lies up the kazoo in order to justify drilling for oil when we shouldn't be doing that.
In 2015, the state effectively closed oil rigs off the Santa Barbara coast when a pipeline carrying the crude burst. The new owner repaired the pipe, but the state still opposes restarting production.
The Trump administration has no ground to stand on. The law is clear. These pipelines fall within California's jurisdiction.
But Friday, President Trump used his authority to override the state and reopen the pipeline.
We're going to fill up 6 million Californian consuming cars every month with our oil out of Sable offshore. And if that's not impactful to California, I don't know what is.
California oil production has dropped dramatically in recent decades, forcing dozens of refineries to close, leading the state to become more dependent on foreign oil. Nonetheless, Governor Gavin Newsom opposes the pipeline. California will not allow this desperate political stunt to put our coastal communities and environment at risk. So the 3 wells here are currently pumping out 50,000 barrels a day, enough to fuel hundreds of thousands of cars. But the state is going to challenge the administration in court, arguing that the pipeline is on state land. So, Brett, it could be up to a federal judge if the oil still flows. Back to you.
We'll follow that. William Lajeunesse, live in Santa Barbara.
Okay, now, see, California is literally the example they want for the rest of the world. That's why they pass all of the regulations in California. For years, the Chevy, Ford, they'd have a car for the rest of America and then have a car for fucking California because the fucking retards. Now, gasoline out in California is almost $8 a gallon and rising. That, the number one, fuck you for using Jane Fonda. Boy, you couldn't choose a worse fucking spokesperson. You know how many boomers hate fucking Jane Fonda? One of the biggest ones, Patrick. Patrick can't stand Jane Fonda. And if you don't know what Jane Fonda did, Google that shit. This is a plan. Now, when I say a plan, that doesn't mean they have it laid out. Oh, okay, on January 7th of next year, we're going to do this. No. This is they have a place they want to get to. They make the rights and the turns and all. Exactly. Hanoi Jane, yes. And exactly. She's a traitor. That woman just fucking absolutely drives me nuts. But this is a goal. This and oil is the key. Now, they say it's we're moving to electric. Guys, they don't have enough electric to run the electric cars. Now, they're waiting. They need fusion. And when I say they, I mean the people, not fucking California government. They're worthless piece of shit. But the people, they need electric cars, but they need cheap electric. That's coming. But watch. California is already taxing by the mile on electric cars because it's all about the money. It's all about the money so they can hold up the system that they've created in California. That's what all the fraud is for. The fraud is to hold up the California economy. Without all of the fraud, you really wouldn't have a California economy because I have a very good friend of mine who owns a construction company out in California. When I was there a couple months ago, I think, he was walking me around some of these like very like prices, and we're talking 8, 10, $20 million houses. And that's what he does. And we're walking around this house, and it's right on the edge of a cliff and like looking out over the ocean. Yeah, that's one of those big ones. And from the time they started to build the house till the time it was almost fucking done, if I remember correctly, it was 3 fucking years. 3 years. The first year was just getting the permits. Let that sink in. Now, mind you, it wasn't a small house, but it was not a huge, probably 4,500 square feet, maybe 5,000 square feet house. Now, maybe a little bit bigger than that, maybe 6,000 square feet. But 3 years, because most of it is permits and inspections. And then you got to slide a few hundred, or as we used to do it, roll a few $100s up in the blueprint and hand it to the inspector. That's the old way of doing it. And those of you who ever worked construction and dealt with the inspectors, you guys know the fucking deal. It's all corrupt. California cannot exist without the corruption. Their economy would fucking collapse. Now, you're asking, all right, Ben, what does California oil have to do with the war in Iran? Because we are handing off Iran and the Middle East oil to China. This is the agreement we've made. Why do you think Trump's meeting with Xi here in a few weeks? We're handing off the East. We don't want not a fucking thing to do with the East. Because it's a lot of money. We got a lot of bases. NATO, fuck NATO. That ain't gonna last long. Trump, as soon as this fucking deal is done, NATO's done. Let's just put it this way. That's what Putin's waiting for. He was like, I'm just gonna hang out in Ukraine until Trump gets rid of NATO. Then he doesn't have any opposition, and he'll probably just grab up all of Ukraine, which I'm okay with. I don't give a flying fuck about Ukraine, although my grandfather was originally from Ukraine and that area like Yugoslavia and stuff. I don't give a flying fuck. Not like I'm going to swing over to Ukraine on vacation. It's China. Let China and Russia handle that bullshit, because we cannot be the world's fucking police. That's what got us into this. The global world order, the new world order was the global infrastructure of the American military and the American and European intelligence agencies. So Trump's like, go ahead, bye. All right. So, but he's setting up America. Now, remember, in his first term, Trump set us up as we are completely self-sufficient with oil. We got so much oil, and especially natural gas. We got a fuck ton of natural gas. We got everything. But you guys have heard, or you did in the past, of the Monroe Doctrine. That's what this is. You're seeing the rollout and the enforcement and the shift that aligns with the Monroe Doctrine, which means fuck the East. You guys, you do what you do. I don't give a fuck. But the Western Hemisphere, that's ours. You fuck with that, and we're gonna fuck you up. That's why Cuba, Venezuela, South America, the wars with the drug cartels, Canada best get its fucking mind right, because let's just put it this way. If Canada don't get their mind right, they're basically going to be North, let's say North Dakota. They're just going to be another state that we fucking just take over. That's what Greenland is. That's what Cuba, Venezuela, all of this is the Monroe Doctrine rolling out. This war in Iran is to help China. Now, we're using Israel as a proxy. Everyone's like, oh, Israel's running America. Guys, without America, Israel ain't shit. But Israelis. Now, we have to talk about Israel. It is not one united, happy-go-lucky, holding hands, kumbaya motherfuckers. You have the Khazarian mafia, and you have the true Jews, the real Jews, not the Khazarian mafia. Remember, if you see a white guy who says he's Jewish, he ain't fucking Jewish. All right, he is, his nationality, his genetics are not Jewish, because Jews are Middle Eastern. If you see a if you see a Jew with a sunburn, he ain't fucking Jewish. I'm just telling you the facts, folks. So they're at war right now inside of Israel. Now that has a whole nother aspect. You got some religious Jews. You may have heard that today it's a great day. The Messiah is coming back over in fucking Israel, apparently. Good for us. Why not? Set the world on fire? Fuck it. Let's throw in a few fucking messiahs and antichrist at the same time. Why not? Make it one big fucking party. And hang on one second. Oh, I may have had too many Red Bulls this morning. Yes, absolutely. Ethiopian Jews. You guys, there's a documentary on YouTube or Rumble, I don't remember which one, on Ethiopian Jews. Look at that shit. That's fucking wild what happened with them. And so this is Trump handing off the East. That's what Iran, because Iran, and guys, I'm telling you right now, the hash rate is about to drop like a motherfucker because Iran and several other Middle Eastern countries have been mining Bitcoin practically for free because of their energy infrastructure, which is one of the reasons we're launching our mining company, because hash rate goes down. That means all of the miners who are running make more Bitcoin. Once you know where this is all going, it makes perfect sense, because just like the metals, remember guys, after we moved from pegging our currencies to the metals, the price of the metals in real terms went down. Inflation went up, the price went up, but the real value was flat and actually went down some. That's what they're going to do to oil. They're going to devalue. They'll inflate the currency because they'll set those two against each other. They'll devalue the oil, but the price right now will rise. And watch out for this. I hate to say it, but it's true. Trump is going to nationalize the oil market and the oil companies. This is coming. I know that sucks, but during this period, it's necessary. And that in the 70s, that led to an artificial oil shortage because that was all fake too. This is going to transition us into the pure energy play. And that's what's really going on right now is the separation of the world, East, West. America is going to run the West. China, with a little bit of influence from Russia, because of oil. The only reason Russia is even in this fucking conversation is oil. All right? Let's put it this way. Russia has more oil than it has vodka, which is saying a lot. And they got a fuck ton of land. And that's where we're at right now. Iran, they're going to get rid of the infrastructure. They're going to get rid of the leadership level of Iran. Now, if you may or may have not heard, we've killed 3 of their leaders. Every time they put up a new leader, we supposedly kill them. It could be a Hitler thing where they're like, all right, pretend that you kill yourself and we'll send you to Argentina. Deal? So it actually could be that. Do I know for sure? Absolutely not. But what makes sense is they're changing the leadership no matter how they're doing it, whether it's actual killing or they're sending them to a fucking beach with a Mai Tai drink. I don't know. But they are removing the leadership structure and organization of the government that was in Iran. Remember, Obama, how many pallets of money did that motherfucker fly in on a helicopter? That's the CIA. That's the global. And it was billions and billions of dollars. Right? It isn't like they needed to borrow a little gas money and they're like, hey man, can I get $20? I just got to get down the road a bit. No, motherfucker dropped off pallets of cash. What? Iran fucking banks can't receive a wire? I know they can. So he drops off cash. And that this whole structure is going down. Now, Russia is linked with this. Ukraine is linked with this because Ukraine, for those of you who do not know, oh, hang on 1 second. Word from the sponsor.
Tired of jumping through hoops to buy Bitcoin?
Ever wondered how safe your online activities really are? How secure is your digital footprint? In the vast realm of the internet, privacy and security are paramount. Without adequate protection, your personal data might be at risk. There are solutions to these issues, and today we're going to talk about 2 of them. Introducing Liberty laptops from Calyx Solutions. These cutting-edge devices are meticulously designed to bolster online privacy, providing you the liberty to surf the internet incognito. The World Wide Web can be a wild frontier, but with Liberty laptops, your online privacy is always protected. We also present you crypto laptops, designed with cryptocurrency users in mind. Equipped to support a myriad of wallets and exchanges, these laptops are tailored for seamless cryptocurrency transactions. They offer enhanced security protocols to keep your digital assets safe. Crypto Laptops ensures a secure and smooth cryptocurrency experience. It's time to take control of your online privacy and security. Venture over to Calyx Solutions and explore our Liberty laptops and Crypto Laptops. Don't forget, our affiliate program lets you earn $50 per sale. Visit calyxsolutions.io now or call 702-845-8276 for more information, because your online safety is our priority.
All right, we are back. Welcome back, guys and gals. Hang on one second. All right, I am getting the rest of this set up real quick. I got to see which is which here. All right, there we go. All right, yes. All right, now, just know that Iran and all that shit, that a big transfer of power is now going on. Iran is the last stranglehold in the Middle East of the old globalist CIA, London intelligent fucking Five Eyes structure. Now, that said, that's a big deal. We got to watch that. That shit's crazy. But, all right, I got a message from my friend who I call KFC. Those of you who know or have watched my show a long time, I have a friend up in Washington, D.C. I call him KFC because he looks like the fucking colonel from Kentucky Fried Chicken. Right? If you want to see who I'm talking about, just Google Kentucky Fried Chicken White House looking guy or something like that. You'll see him. You can't miss him. Motherfucker looks like he belongs in like 1890. And I hope you feel better, brother. So there's a guy out right now named Joe, what the fuck's his name again? Kent. All right. Everyone's fucking talking about Joe Kent. He was on with Tucker Carlson. I don't think Tucker Carlson knows exactly what he did when he was in the military, because that's what you hear. You're like, this guy did 11 terms in the military, or 11 deployments. Okay, for anybody who knows anything about the fucking military, the most you can do is 4. All right, there's a limit on how many fucking deployments that you can actually go on in a certain amount of time. Kent was military special forces in a certain group that is ran by the CIA and the Pentagon. This guy's not who he seems. Right now, I'm not saying he didn't do some good shit when he was originally in the military. He did. He did do some good shit. But the second half of his career, not so good. Now, I don't know if he knew he was being used or not, because a lot of the missions, as I understand it, were not really good for America. And there's a link. Let me play a few clips here real quick, right?
Sources are saying that Joe Kent, the former director of the United States National Counterterror Center, this is from Semaphore, he just resigned. He's now under FBI investigation for allegedly leaking classified information. And the investigation predates his departure. Congressman, your reaction to that tonight? Wow.
Well, there's a lot there, and I think that we need to let this investigation play out, but we shouldn't tolerate any leakers in the administration, particularly regarding classified national security interests and information. So we'll let this play out and see where it goes. But if he was leaking, he ought to be held accountable just like anybody else would be.
Now, 5 minutes ago, he seemed to think that Iran was a big threat, and then suddenly that threat went away. It was very odd. Congressman, thank you very much. Great. I'm going to go. Sources are saying that Joe Kent, the former director of the
Okay, now I want you to understand this guy has been under investigation since he was put in power. Right? Since since he was placed in his position, they put him there on purpose. Now, what's the old saying? Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. That's the key. There's a lot of people, according to KFC, all right, who was placed in the administration so they could watch them and figure out exactly the structure of communication that was set up. All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, George Webb. I got the video right here, guys. Because I'm telling you right now, those of you who don't know who George Webb is, look him up on X and look at his history. You want to talk about Epstein and supermodels, and this dude's plugged in, and KFC knows George Webb. KFC has helped George Webb a few times. In fact, if you want to look it up, about this was 2018, 2019, KFC was on George Webb's show. Just if you want to Google that shit. All right. Let me share a screen real quick. Hang on 1 second. Oh yeah, guys, this goes fucking deep. And hang on 1 second. Here we go.
Okay, hello everybody. George Webb, Joe Kent. Hold on to your hats. You may not remember what I said about Joe Kent, but Joe Kent was the key guy who stopped Trump from discovering the big tunnel. Remember Mitch Snow with the old little tunnel, the El Chapo tunnel, the one they fill with water every once in a while and they use it every once in a while? We're not talking about that tunnel. That was the tunnel in 1989. We're talking about the big ass tunnel. How do you know there's a big ass tunnel, big ass Rothschild tunnel, like super highway type Rothschild tunnel that replaced the El Chapo tunnel? Because Donald Trump sent 500 soldiers from the 10th Mountain in April of 2025 to find the big ass tunnel. And he sent his new Undersecretary of Defense, Mr. Hansel and Gretel, right? He sent Hansel out to Fort Huachuca on the 9th, September 9th. Actually, I think they got into the Candlewood at the 8th, right? And the meeting was at that joint task force, South Border South Command. So how did Mitch know to Unabomb that meeting? Remember, Mitch goes in with the backpack and everybody thinks he has a bomb. How did Mitch know to Unabomb that building, that time, that date? Joe Kent told him, right? And I know Joe Kent communicated with Mitch Snow. That's how Mitch Snow knew to Unabomb that meeting. That's why Mitch was at the Candlewood on the night of the 8th. It wasn't for him looking for his records. We showed you in Pasco where his records are. We showed you in Richland where his records are. It was right down the street. He didn't need to go there. He went to Unabomb the meeting. Why did he go to Unabomb the meeting? The Rothschild Tunnel, the super tunnel, the Elon Musk boring. I'm not saying Elon Musk involved, but the boring technology is so much better. The boring company technology is so much better. The tunnel can be so much bigger. Trump wouldn't have sent the 10th Mountain and the 110th military intelligence out there if he didn't think there was a tunnel. Mitch said himself, 90%, 70 to 90% of the drugs come through that one little area for the whole southern border. And nobody can figure out how it's done. Secretary Hansel can't figure out how it's done. Secretary Hansel, think about it this way. Why is somebody Unabombing your meeting when you go out to find the tunnel? Do you think there might be a leak? Do you think somebody may be leaking where the meeting is so they can Unabomb your meeting, right? Do you think somebody told Mitch where to Unabomb your meeting? Isn't that why you didn't do that meeting? Isn't that why you flew around in a helicopter around the border instead of doing the ground penetrating radar? If you want to find, first of all, look at Montezuma Caves if you want to find the new big tunnel. But anyway, Secretary Hansel, think about it. Joe Kent is your leak. Joe Kent is the one that's been undermining Trump all along the way. Trump needs to open an investigation into this, needs to go back to Fort Huachuca, send Undersecretary Hansel back to Fort Huachuca, find the Rothschild Tunnel. Mitch gives us great metadata here. Mitch gives us great metadata. The fact that Joe Kent is leaving, wow, a leaker, you're getting rid of a big leak. Think if you're on a big Navy ship and there's a huge hole in the boat and you're leaking. If you got rid of a big leak, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to get rid of Joe Kent.
All right, now, when he is talking about the little tunnel and the big tunnel, let me tell you guys a little secret. Number one, every fucking truck driver knows this. There are huge tunnels under all of America. There's a lot of them in the South. There's one in St. Louis. And those of you watching in St. Louis, let me tell you right where it's at. All right. Highway 270 leading into Illinois. There's an exit called Koch Road, K-O-C-H. Yes, just like the Koch brothers. There's an area right as you get off the highway, right before you cross over the bridge. There's an area right there that has a bunch of tunnels and all this shit. But there's a company that is called Kuna Meat, K-U-N-A. All right. Kuna is an acronym. It's Koch Underground Network Administration or something like that. All right. Trust me, I worked for Kuna Meat when I was younger. That whole area. All right. Now, on the other side of the highway is a cemetery. It's a military cemetery. All right. It's called Revis Barracks Cemetery. All of these underground bases are under national military cemeteries because you can't dig them. They're secure. You'll never be able to go in there and dig up anything. So here's Highway 270. On this side, you have Kuna Meat, which they say they use the tunnels for refrigeration for their products. Trust me, I've been in there. There's areas that trucks are not allowed. The food trucks are not allowed, but there's tunnels that lead under the highway and then over under Revis Barracks Park and Revis Barracks Cemetery. I know this for a fact. I have been in the tunnels. Now, of course, I didn't go to the right because that leads under the highway and over that. And here's, all right, as you enter the tunnels of Cunamita, all right, the area, or in order to hang a right and go under the highway and over towards Revis Barracks, there's a gate inside. So the tunnel has a gate. You can't just hang a right and go back there. There's a gate. It's the only tunnel in the whole organization that has a gate. And I don't mean some little shit ass fucking gate. This is a military grade gate. This is like rod iron, heavier than that. And just, you ain't driving through it. Let's put it that way. Even with an 18-wheeler, you ain't gonna fucking go through that gate. It's a solid ass gate. All right. Now, there's an area, hang on one second. What he's actually talking about is this area right here. All right. This is, all right, this is Fort Huachuca, which is actually, if you want to do a little research on it, that is actually spelled with an H. Let me bring this up. All right, so hang on one second. There we go. All right, so if you look at this map, all right, this is actually, this area right here is Fort Huachuca, right? This area down here, all of this area is mountains, right? Huge, big fucking mountains. Now, what we are talking about, all right, is right over here, all right? There's an area called Fort Huachuca Range 8. And I don't give a fuck if anybody from the government hears this. Fuck off. All right, Fort Huachuca Range 8 is right over here, right off this road right here, is where you enter into the mountain. It's right, let me see if I can zoom in here. All right, here's the range right here. You go back here. This road right here leads to right here. Now, right, let me move this over. Right here, you hang a right. There's a road right here that all of a sudden fucking dead ends. That road dead ends. Now, let's see if we can get us. Aha! All right, let me move this way. All right, right here is on top of that mountain. All right, and your road is over here. Let me make sure I am putting this in the right direction here. Your road and your town is right back here. Under this, and under this, that is where the military base is at. That's where the tunnel is. That's where the huge fucking tunnel is. All right, let me exit out of this. All right, there. All right, let me zoom out. This is all fucking mountain range right here. All right, this here, let me zoom out here. All right, this here is all fucking mountain range. All right through here is huge friggin' mountain range. Let me close that. All right, so this whole area right here is all fucking mountain range. And they, all right, where is it at? Hachuca Peak. Yeah, let's switch over to, here we go. That's better. All right. So here's the range right there. This whole area right here. That's where the tunnel leads. All right. And it continues all under this. You see, like this, there's like a river right here, right? All right, this here. Wait, no. All right, this is the U.S.-Mexico border. That tunnel goes all the way from, where is that here? All right, it leads in around here and it goes all the way to the Mexican border. And the outlet, where's that? The outlet is right around here. Rancho El Clare, or Clara. That's where the outlet is. So all of the drugs are ran from around here. I don't know exactly where that inlet's at, but it goes under the mountain and right over to, I got to zoom out a little bit. All right. Right over to this area here. Oh, right there. All right. Right here from Fort Huachuca, Range 8. It goes right under all of this shit, right through here, and leads into Mexico. That, let me close this, right? That is how they get 80% of the drugs and, listen to me, Chinese and Middle Eastern terrorists in. That's where they get it in, is right through there. There's a huge fucking tunnel. And that's where Kent, I actually did a lot of his shit. And that he helped move a lot of the helpers in the Middle East through there. Obama did it. Biden did it. Trump was looking for it in his first term. That's why they were so fucked up about the border, because That's why all you saw was like, oh, there's people walking across the border. Nothing compares to how many people were brought in using this fucking tunnel. And when I say a tunnel, it's 4 lanes wide. 4 fucking lanes wide. It's huge. So if you guys want some homework, because I'm really running over, sorry guys, look up the history of that fort. All right. All right. Look up Fort Huachuca. In fact, let me put a link here. Copy link. I'll drop it over in the chat. There we go. All right, now, also, Las Vegas. Sorry, guys. I told you this one's going to run a little long. Las Vegas. We've all heard of, oh, there's people living under Las Vegas. There's all these flood tunnels and all this other. Guys, there's a whole nother network under Las Vegas. Las Vegas has an underworld. And I don't mean like homeless people sleeping in a fucking, in a tunnel drainage ditch. This is linked with that. California has a fuck ton of these tunnels. Where do you think a lot of the money that went for the high-speed rail, not only corruption, for this? This has been going on since 1967. After JFK, remember, we lost JFK, 1963. 1967 is when they implemented all this shit. Now they're like he said, there used to be a smaller tunnel that was in a different location. This is the big boy, all right? Just look into the history of this place, and it will blow your fucking mind. Fort Huachuca. It's Huachuca. Now, as for our lovely little government officer who just resigned, Joe Kent, he is not resigning over the Iran war. That was him trying to get the fuck out and make it look like they were coming after him because he disobeyed Trump. He resigned. This is retribution for my resignation. Motherfucker. We know what you've been doing the whole fucking time. We just needed a example of a trip. And you took the trip, motherfucker. You took the trip. Now, yes, this links that base. Erica Kirk lived at that base for quite a long time. I'm telling you, folks, this is deeper than you know. So much deeper than you know. Erica Kirk lived there and was doing things there. Just saying. All right, everyone, do some research, dig in, and shit's gonna make very much sense. I love you guys. I won't see you tomorrow. I'm doing a little recon myself. But I'm going to have a lot of information on Monday. I'll see you guys Monday. Bye-bye.
Tired of jumping through hoops to buy Bitcoin? Frustrated with endless paperwork and invasive identity checks? Introducing Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club's loan program. No KYC required. Say goodbye to the hassle and hello to freedom. Borrow up to $250,000 at as little as 7% interest. Join our community and take control of your financial future. Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, where privacy meets opportunity. Connect with like-minded individuals and grow together. Visit us today and unlock your $250,000 Bitcoin loan. Your journey to financial freedom starts here.